Hello, good morning all. Today we will start the discussion on the C language. We have 4 modules in this subject. That all the modules cover each and every aspect of the C language. I have prepared notes for you to understand the basics of the language, to understand the concepts behind the language, to understand each and every aspect of each and every line of a language. When we talk about the language, here we are talking about those languages in which we can code on our system. Coding languages. So there are several levels of the languages. So first we'll understand what are those levels of the language. Then we can understand then what type of, at what level C reside. So basically we have 3 levels of languages. 3 तरीके के levels होते हैं हमारे languages के. Low level languages, middle level languages and high level languages. See, in our computer system we have hardware, we have an operating system, we have some application programs, and we are definitely having the users. So the scenario is basically the user understands some languages like Hindi, English. Then application programs, with the help of application programs, user can interact with an operating system. Now operating system basically acts as a middleware between computer and hardware. So whatever we need, whatever task we need to perform, we need to give instruction to the hardware. So because of this arrangement of computer system, we have different languages. Those languages which can be understood by hardware only, those languages are called low level language. We can also call these languages as a machine language. These languages are made up of series of zeros and ones. Here, when we talk about low level languages, so all those languages which can communicate directly through machine, that machine could be the assembler also. That's why we can consider assembly language and machine language both as a low level language. After that, there are some languages which have some instructions through which we can directly communicate with the hardware, or which are having the instructions which user can understand. It means that in some languages we have that kind of instructions which can be understood by machine, and we can also have those instructions also which can be understood by user. So those languages we can consider into the middle level. In these languages, some instances are of low level languages and some instances are of hardware languages, high level languages. And after that we have high level languages which can only be understood by the user. So if we talk about the C C is a middle level languages, because if we talk about the large part of the code section of C, so C has some instruction part which can directly communicate with the hardware, and C has some instruction part which can easily be understood by user. So because of these functionalities, C comes under middle level languages. Now, what is the history behind C? That is very important. What is the history behind C? In 1972, there was a scientist, Dennis Ritchie. So Dennis Ritchie wants to make one operating system. So at that time, what Dennis Ritchie was looking for some language in which he can write a code of an operating system. So whatever the languages were existing at that time, he has started his work in those languages. But what he required some important work from that operating system. So all those languages which were existing at that time, he was unable to perform that particular work in those languages. So what he decided that first he will create one language, and then after he will write the code of his operating system in that language. So in 1972, Dennis Ritchie designed and write one language which is known as C language, and which is the middle level language. So this is the story behind the C language. After invented C language, the Dennis Ritchie has written the code of Unix operating system into this language, with the help of C language. Now, whenever we talk about any language, then because of the arrangement of computer system, because of arrangement of this like operating system, hardware and softwares, we must require those things which can understand both the things, which can understand both the languages, like the languages of user and the languages of hardware. So if we talk about those particular things, because if we need to talk to the machine, then machine does not know my language, we do not know the language of machine, so we need some translators which can translate my language into machine language and the machine language into my language. So in computer system we have three kinds of translators: compiler, interpreter and assembler. Now compiler and interpreter, what they do, they converts the high level language into machine level language. They both converts the high level language into machine level language. But the way of converting those languages is different. The way of converting those languages is different. In compiler, what the compiler will do, suppose we have passed a code of 100 lines. So what the compiler will do, compiler will read the 100 lines, and if those 100 lines we have suppose 10 number of errors. So compiler will show all the 10 errors at once. That in this particular line we have these errors, and the total number of errors are 10. But the interpreter, the thing is different. Suppose we have the error in 5th line, we have the error in 11th line, we have the error in 20th line. So what the interpreter will do, interpreter will read instruction line by line, and once interpreter get an error, it will stop reading the next line. Means interpreter will show me that we have the error in the 5th line, and that's why it cannot move on to the 6th line. So first remove that error. So once I remove that error, the interpreter move on to the next line, and so on. This functionality will carry till the last line. So this is the difference between compiler and interpreter. What the assembler will do, assembler will change the assembly code into the machine language. Assembly code are the code which has been written in one line. The assembly code will always be in one line. So the single line code will be converted into the machine language with the help of the assembler. So these are the translators we have. Now understand the top-down development method. We will go through topic by topic. Of our syllabus. So the next topic is top-down development. Till now what we have read? We read the types of languages. We have 3 different types of languages. Low level, middle level, high level. We have read that C lies in the middle level language. C has been developed in 1972 by Dennis Ritchie. Behind that there was a small story. After that we have read about the translators, that we have the 3 types of translators: compiler, interpreter and assembler. Now we come on to the methodology. Now we come on to the method of programming. So the method of the programming is top-down development, which provides method to handle the complexity of problem. Suppose we have given with a problem, that is a large problem. So once we have a large problem, that problem must be complex, that problem must have lots of instructions involved in that. So what we'll do, we'll divide that large problem into small problems. So first we'll divide that problems into small sub-problems. Then we'll repeatedly solve these sub-problems, combine the result and make the final output of the given task. So this is also known as modular programming. What are the subtasks we have created? Those are called modules of a program, of that big task. So the small modules we have, we'll individually solve every modules. In an organization also, suppose एक organization है, उसमें भी इसी तरीके से काम होते हैं. एक बहुत बड़ा project है, we have a large project. In that project there are several sections. In that project we have several sections. वहाँ पे कुछ सेक्शन हमारे रिलेटेड होते हैं कोडिंग से, कुछ सेक्शन रिलेटेड होते हैं डिज़ाइन से, कुछ सेक्शन रिलेटेड होते हैं टेस्टिंग से. सो हमारे पास हर चीज़ की अलग अलग टीम्स होती. वी हैव डिफरेंट टीम्स. सो वी विल डिवाइड द मॉड्यूल्स. एक्चुअली टेस्टिंग टीम अपना मॉड्यूल कंप्लीट करेगी, कोडिंग टीम अपना मॉड्यूल कंप्लीट करेगी. इवन कोडिंग टीम में भी कोड्स के अलग अलग मॉड्यूल्स बनाकर उनको छोटी छोटी टीम्स में डिवाइड करते हैं. सो दिस इज़ द सिनारियो. क्योंकि एक पूरी टास्क को करने के लिए सपोज 1300 लाइन्स का कोड है, एंड इफ वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट कोड देन दिस इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट. एंड इफ वी हैव सपोज a code of 100 lines, and like that we have 13 different modules of 100 lines code, then it could be much easier in comparison with 1300 lines module to understand. So these are the advantages of top down development programming, modular programming, that separating the low level from higher level object leads to modular design. We can understand those modules easily. Modular design means development can be self contained. अब जो टीम हमें जिस काम को करने में बेटर लग रही है, हम वो मॉड्यूल उस पर्टिकुलर टीम को प्रोवाइड करा देंगे. तो जो लोग स्पेशलिटीज़ है जिनको जिस काम में उनको वही काम मिलेगा. सो वी मस्ट हैव लेस ऑपरेशनल एरर्स. हमको कोई काम करना बहुत अच्छे से आता है, हमको वही काम मिला, सो आई कैन कंज्यूम लेस टाइम. And if the error occurs, then we can easily understand those errors, and we can easily fix those errors. So these are the advantages of top-down modular programming. Now come on to the programming environment of C language. The programming environment has a wide section. Once we talk about the code, we'll check the all programming environment, that everything we will understand, that what is editor, what is on what editor we are writing a program, what translator is translating my program into machine language, how that program is translating into machine language. So what are the advantages of programming environment is the tools and compilation stages are written. Automated source code dependency checking. Whenever we have a proper programming environment in which we are working, then lots of advantages we are having. We can automated check, we can remove the error simply, we have the better editor so that we can write in an easy way, and there are lots of other things when we'll discuss when we come on to the basics of C programming. So this is all about the basic concepts behind the starting of a language and where that language is actually functioning. So what we have read till yet, we have gone through with some levels, we have gone through with translators, we have gone through with the top-down programming development, which is also called modular programming development, and we have gone through with programming environment, that what programming environment C is having. It is a programming environment which is used for creating, compiling, linking and executing the page. These are the different phases which we need to understand. See, once a program has been written, and we have we need to execute that program. There are several sections are related with to generate an output of a program. That first we need to write a program. This is all about programming environment we are discussing. First we need to write a program in C language. For that we need to understand each and every concepts of the C language. After writing a correct program, after removing all the errors which that program is having, we need to compile that program. Now what that compile phase will have, in the compilation phase, the compiler will translate my written program into the machine level language program, into the machine language. So after compilation has been done, when the compilation has been done, we will get the machine code of a program. Once we get the machine code of a program, we can directly forward that machine code to the machine, because machine can understand now that code, and after understanding that code, machine will generate some output in its language only, in the machine language. Now it's the responsibility of the compiler to translate that machine code, which is the output given by machine, into my language and display the correct output on the screen. So this is the scenario. What actually we are having. We can understand this thoroughly when we write the codes, when we write the things. Now, we will discuss this chart. This is a precedence chart. In C language, we have different operators. Now, what the operator is? Operator is actually apply on some operands. So we have few kinds of operators, like if an operator is applying between two operands, then it is called binary operators. And if an operator is apply on single operand, then it is known as unary operator. Most of the operators are the binary operators. So when we write any expression, when we write any mathematical expression, then it involves several operators. So for the calculation of that expression, we need to be very clear about the precedence of those operators, and how those operators are associated with each other. That thing we need to understand very well for the proper calculation of an expression. In C language, for different operators, we have different precedence. So the precedence and associativity, those are two very important things. Precedence means first, which operator we need to calculate. Suppose two operators are applied in an expression, then in between of those two operators, which operator we need, to calculate first in my program. That is known as precedence. And if suppose we have two operators and both are having the same precedence, then in between those two operators, which operator need to be calculated first? that is known as associativity. So associativity comes into existence when we have the same precedence operators. So here we have given one precedence chart in which there are several operators, and as per the precedence, means first precedence, we will calculate those first if these operators are there in the expression. Then number 2 means after the first, if we have these operators which has been written on the second precedence, if we have these operators we will calculate these on the number 2 level. Then number 3 and 4. So first discuss the level first precedence. We have parenthesis, we have square brackets, we have dot operator or module selection operator, we have arrow operator. We will check the use of each and every operator once we move further in our subject. Then we have postfix and prefix, increment and decrement operators. Now, if we have involved with these operators, then these operators must be calculated first in our expression. Suppose we have written with one expression in the bracket a plus b and outside the bracket plus c. So how many operators we are having? We are having one bracket, that is one operator. We are having plus, 2 plus. Okay, so basically we have 3 operators in this. But because we have bracket, so first we will calculate the bracket a plus b. Whatever the result we will have, we will add the c in that. So this is the precedence. This is the way we will calculate these first precedence operator. Arrow operator we basically use when we do any dynamic programming, any programming with pointer related programming. We'll understand later on. Post increment, post decrement, prefix increment, prefix decrement. These are the unary operators. They have applied on the single operand. Suppose if it is written a plus plus, so it means we need to increment a by 1. This is the way to write plus 1 in C language. We can write plus plus. The same way minus minus. So these operators are having the highest precedence, and the associativity of these operators is left to right. Now suppose if we have an expression a plus b plus c, earlier the bracket was involved in it, now the bracket is not involved in it. A plus b plus c, now we have 2 operators plus in this expression, so both are plus, so the precedence of both the operator is same. Now we come on to the associativity, and associativity tells that associativity tells that we need to move from left to right, as seen in the fourth precedence, addition and subtraction operators. Left to right we need to move. So first we will calculate a plus b, then we will calculate the result plus c. After that, on the second precedence, we have prefix increment decrement. Suppose in an expression we have postfix increment decrement. And we have prefix increment decrement. So before calculating So we need to maintain this precedence in between those operators also. So you can see all the operators here, and we need to understand their precedence. We need to understand the precedence level, we need to understand the associativity level. We have parenthesis operators, brackets operator, dot operator, arrow operator, postface increment, prefix increment, decrement, unary plus minus. Not operator and bitwise complement. These operators we need to understand very well. So this bitwise operator is, we'll understand about these operators later on, one by one, that what is the functionality of this bitwise operator, how this bitwise operator will work, how this not operator will work. Then at the third level we have the multiplication, division and modulus operator. Means if an expression we have addition and multiplication, suppose A multiplied by B plus C. So we have two operators, multiplied and addition, and the precedence of multiplication is higher than the precedence of addition operator. So we will calculate the multiplication operator first, then addition operator after that thing. Then we have left shift and right shift operators. After that we have relational operators, few relational operators. After that we have logical operators, bitwise operator, logical operators, then ternary operators. So these all things we need to understand. We will understand each and every operator one by one. Like what are the arithmetic operators? There are few types of operators like arithmetic operator, bitwise operator, logical operators and relational operators. So how those operator works, we will understand in the next lecture. Till now we should understand that these are the operators. The operators are having this of precedence. This table we need to understand very well. This table we need to by heart very well, because with the help of this table only we can calculate the result of our solution, our expressions. We can calculate our different types of expressions. We can calculate the output of the different types of expressions, and expression can have multiple types of operators. So which operator need to calculate first, which operator need to calculate second, this we can understand with the help of precedence and associativity. So precedence and associativity is very important, that we need to understand that precedence is the thing that which operator we need to calculate first, that is precedence. If they are having the different precedence, and if the operator is having same precedence, then on the basis of associativity we will decide that which operator will be calculated first. So what we have read till now, we have read the levels of programming, we have read the types of translators, we have read the functionalities of modular programming. We will discuss some small discussion on programming environment, how that program compiles, executes and giving an output, what are the advantages of those programming environment. And we have discusses about what is precedence and associativity. So that precedence and associativity has been divided into all the types of operators, at what level which operator reside. We will understand with the help of this table. What is the associativity of each and every operator? We can understand this with the help of this table. Now see, in the next lecture we will understand about data types. So now for the next lecture I want to tell you that for storing a data in a computer or anywhere, suppose we need to store an amount, price, rupees in our pocket. So we have decided the type, that where to store what data. Like we have a wallet. So we have decided that we can keep rupees, coins and some important papers in our wallet. So we always keep those types. So we always decide the type of data. Because to store a data in an efficient way, to store a data for better processing, for efficient processing, we need to understand that what type of data we are storing at this place. So as in our general life we have decided the type of data, like what we need to store in a wallet, what we need to store in, suppose, our cupboard, in our racks, what type of data we need to store there. We have decided, like in the same way we will decide the type of data which we are storing in our computer system or which we are using in our program. So on the basis of that type we have different types of data. In our computer system we have different type of data. So that is actually a data type. Why we decide a data type? Because for a efficient and for a better processing we need to store a data, and what type of data we are storing, that we need to understand with the help of data type. A data type tells lots of things, like what is the maximum value, what is the minimum value could be of that data, what is the format of that data, so several things. On the basis of that we can store that data in our program, we can use that data in our computer program. So that thing we'll understand in the next lecture, and we'll go through with several other processing features, several other things which we use in our computer programs for understanding the program well, for better processing. So till now we are summing up with this session where we have gone through with programming environments, some translators and some level of languages. So this thing we need to understand, and we always need to remember that the C is the middle level language, because it has been written on many number of places that C is a high level language, but C is a middle level language because it has some features through which we can communicate with the machine language also, with the machine also. So that's why C lies under middle level language. So this is the story of the today's lecture. Right now we are summing up this lecture. Thank you.